One surgeon that I worked with actually said, and I'm paraphrasing, but hand to God, this was the gist. He said, "I am the only doctor in this hospital who is competent enough to care for patients." What? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Josh Korzan. I'm a fourth year medical student in Chicago, Illinois, and as I get started on my applications for residency, I wanted to make this video to detail the process of selecting a specialty in medical school. Quick disclaimer, every specialty has their own eccentricities and stereotypes, and today we're going to playfully lean into those to get some laughs along the way, but all of the specialties are great, they're all needed, it's all for the lulz. Alright, let's go. Alright, so you've completed pre-med, gotten the clinical experience, taken the MCAT, applied, interviewed, and now you're in medical school. The next 2 years of your life are to absorb as much information as possible. And there's a lot. Then third and fourth year, you start learning how to apply that information, and you're also accumulating experiences along the way that will guide your decision-making process in selecting a specialty, with the majority of that happening during your core clinical rotations in third year. Heading into med school, you probably have some idea of what specialty you think you'll end up in, but it's important to remember that actually the majority of med students end up in a different specialty than they originally intended. According to the AMA, only about 25% of med students end up in the specialty that they had chosen prior to med school. That's actually higher than I thought it would be. Bottom line, it's important to stay open-minded. With that said, we can go through a little flowchart or algorithm to detail one reasonable process that might get you within striking distance of a good fit specialty for you. Keep in mind that there are a lot of specialties and subspecialties, so for the purpose of this video, we're just going to go through the core specialties that you typically rotate through in third year. And those are internal medicine, or IM, family medicine, or FM, pediatrics, neurology, psychiatry, surgery, and OB-GYN. And then there's also emergency medicine, which you either rotate through in third year or fourth year, depending on the school. One initial fork in the road would be medicine versus surgery. Do you want to be in the operating room? If so, this would either put you into surgery or OB-GYN. If not, that opens up the medical specialties, which are the remaining 6 specialties that we just talked about. So let's drill into each one of these. Let's say you want a surgical specialty, so that'll either put you into surgery or OB-GYN. Then you can ask yourself, who do you want to treat? Do you want to treat female patients only? Then OB-GYN would be the choice there. If you want to treat men and women, then surgery. And if you have no preference, then we need to dig a little deeper. Do you enjoy aspects of primary care, women's health, reproductive health, and pregnancy? Are you okay with going weeks, months, or even years on end without seeing another man? Then OB is for you. Or would you prefer a little more generalization with a greater variety of surgeries and subspecialties? Do you live and breathe for the OR? Do you despise sleep, free time, and a social life? And do you appreciate a little playful hazing from time to time? Surgery is for you. That briefly covers the surgical route. If you opted for a medical specialty, then we have some work to do. Starting out, do you want to be a generalist or would you rather specialize? If you want to specialize or get really proficient in one aspect of medicine, then psych or neuro would be good options. Between these two, if you're higher on empathy, appreciate more lengthy, in-depth patient interactions, and enjoy or can at least tolerate the entertainment, excitement, and possible danger of the occasional psychotic break, then psychiatry would be a great pick. If you're more interested in the brain, nervous system, with less of an emphasis on the behavioral and emotional aspects, if you enjoy playing detective to localize the lesion and appreciate the fashion statement of wearing a fanny pack filled with the most high-tech, state-of-the-art equipment ever conceived by man, neurology. Going back, if you'd rather generalize, we can dig into IM, FM, EM, and pediatrics. Do you want to treat only children?
How do I reach these kids?
If so, pretty clear cut, pediatrics. I don't have any other peds jokes. That would be a low blow, like taking candy from a baby. Do you want to treat adults only? Then internal medicine.
What kind of lawyer does this guy have if he has to take care of the kid all the time? A good one. He won full custody. He won? He won? Oh God, getting the kid is winning, isn't it?
Do you want to treat adults and children or have no preference? then again, we need to dig a little deeper. Do you want to be inpatient or outpatient? If outpatient, IM and FM are great options, and then again from there, IM for adults only. If you want to treat kids as well and put that immune system to the test every cold and flu season, then family medicine. If you want to be inpatient, although some family docs do see their patients in the hospital setting, your best bet would be IM or EM. Some people do consider EM to be outpatient, but whatever, semantics. No one's getting intubated in an outpatient clinic, so I'm just gonna call it inpatient. If you're okay working with both adults and kids, then next, are you interested in a fast-paced environment, high acuity, and rapid patient turnover? Are you interested in still doing some procedures? Do you enjoy biking to work, rock climbing, skydiving, wearing vests, and consuming borderline dangerous levels of caffeine? Will you physically die if your heart rate drops below 100? Emergency medicine. Conversely, would you prefer more time for in-depth thought processes, continuity, little to no procedures, and patients who are more or less relatively stable for now? Do you find yourself using words and phrases such as possibly, potentially, cannot rule in, multifactorial, cannot rule out, nuanced, and most likely, you have an internal medicine brain? All right, that covers all of the core specialties. And again, that's just one method that you could use to get you to a pretty close fit for the right specialty for you. But this is a complex process, and there are plenty of other considerations, such as training timeline, salary, work-life balance, the general vibe, and your ability to work with the personalities that each specialty tends to attract. Maybe you have experience with either yourself or a loved one in dealing with a specific medical condition that predisposed you to a certain specialty. However, at the end of the day, your clinical experiences on rotations will trump all of that. And you can have whatever expectations, preferences, you can go through this algorithm, but sometimes you're just gonna click with a specialty. You may end up hating a specialty that you thought you'd love, and conversely, you may end up loving a specialty that you thought you'd hate. Maybe you end up loving a specialty that you never even considered, and pour some out for the homies that just end up in a specialty because they didn't like anything. I guess there's always business school, or the military, or TikTok, I don't know. All jokes aside, if there are any pre-meds watching this is why it's so important to accumulate clinical experience before medical school. If medicine as a whole isn't a good fit for you, that's okay. It would just be good to know that before you accumulate 3 years of hate and discontent and a couple $100,000 of debt. All right, moving on. My experience. So coming into medical school, I did have a pretty good idea of the specialty that I thought that I would probably end up in. And I'll share this at the end of the video because I want to know your thoughts. And if you're familiar with me and my background and you think you know what I was planning on, just remember that statistic from the beginning of the video: 75% of med students change their mind. All right, if you want to play the game, I want to play a game. Go ahead, pause the video, and drop a comment down below with your guess. Did you do it? You should do it. Okay, here's my algorithm based on my core clinical rotations. Coming into third year, I had a pretty strong suspicion that I would like the medical specialties, and conversely, that I would not enjoy the surgical specialties. And in regard to my third year rotations, they did not disappoint. Starting with the surgical specialties, I really didn't enjoy any of OB-GYN. They spend plenty of time in the OR, which I don't like. Outpatient was okay, and triage and labor and delivery was probably the best part, but the focus was too narrow for me. Plus, I don't think I saw another male human being for the entire 6 weeks of that rotation. Now, I'm exaggerating. I did work with 1 male resident and 2 male attendings, but that covers 3 subspecialties over a 6-week period, and all of that to say that I worked with teams and teams and teams of women, and I only worked with 3 guys that entire time. To each their own, but I need a little more bro time than that. Moving on to surgery, my surgical rotation was 2 months, and for me, that was about 8 weeks too long. Now, even though I say that, I do recognize that there is tremendous value in experiencing all of these specialties in medicine. Even if it's just to confirm that if you had no other choice and you had to work in a certain specialty, that you would rather get kicked in the jewels with a steel-toed boot repeatedly until you reach such a level of pain and disability that you are physically unable to do so. so. The TLDR for surgery is I just didn't enjoy it. Aside from not having the interest or patience to stand around for an 8-hour surgery or the desire to have 5+ years of sleep deprivation, the culture just isn't for me. Now, there are a lot of fantastic surgeons, and I was fortunate enough to work with several of them. Knowledgeable, kind, laid back, humble, overall phenomenal at their jobs, and honestly, a real pleasure to be around. But unfortunately, I found enough of them to be so outrageously arrogant that it was a pretty easy no from me. Just a quick example so you don't think that I'm laying into surgery for no reason. One surgeon that I worked with actually said, and I'm paraphrasing, but hand to God this was the gist. He said, "I am the only doctor in this hospital who is competent enough to care for patients." What? That is another level of narcissism. There are so many fantastic doctors in my hospital, I just can't even begin to comprehend that thought process. Okay, rant over. So at this point, I've effectively crossed the surgical specialties off of my list, and now we have the remaining 6 medical specialties. So we have IM, FM, EM, Psych, Neuro, and Peds. And truthfully, if the choice was taken away from me, I could probably find an area in each of these specialties where I would be totally content. However, choice we have, so let's talk about it. Knowing me, I consider myself to be more of a jack of all trades, so I'd rather generalize than specialize. And with that in mind, I can cross off Neuro and Psych from the list. I enjoyed those rotations, I just need a little more breadth. Similarly, I appreciate opportunities to work with both adults and children, and I would prefer not to confine myself to just one of those. So for that reason, internal medicine and peds are out. While I did find the medicine on both of those specialties to be super interesting, hours of rounding on those inpatient units was a form of slow and painful torture that left me yearning for surgery. Psych! Now we're down to just family medicine and internal medicine. While the Monday through Friday 9 to 5 hours of family medicine are nice, the outpatient clinics always just felt a little mundane to me. Plus, I loathe wearing business casual and my white coat. You guys, I hate wearing my white coat. The ceremony was nice, but it ends there. Hang it up, never wear it again.
That belongs in a museum!
I joined medicine to wear pajamas. If I wanted to wear business casual, I'd go back to business, and that's not happening either. So at long last, we have finally arrived at the greatest specialty of them all, #no bias, and that is emergency medicine. This one just checks all of the boxes for me. It's a medical specialty for generalists, covering a wide variety of patient populations and etiologies. It's inpatient, again, whatever, semantics. It's in the hospital. It's fast-paced and lightly peppered with adrenaline and a little controlled chaos. Plus, ER folks are good at their jobs and locked on, but also generally down to earth, laid back, and fun to work with. Leaning into the ER doctor stereotypes, I'm a Marine Corps veteran, I drink questionable amounts of coffee, and the more than occasional energy drink, and I enjoy adrenaline-filled activities such as skydiving, jujitsu, Muay Thai, and motorcycles. Match made in heaven. Furthermore, I absolutely loved my emergency medicine rotation. I did have prior experience before med school working as a scribe and a CNA in the ER, but getting back to the ED as a med student, it just clicked again. The ER team feels like family. Emergency medicine is where I'm most passionate, engaged, and where I feel that I'm the best version of myself. And I hope you found this video helpful so that you can find the same in whatever specialty you resonate with, even surgery. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.